Hello, we are officially live in the Healing for Women Entrepreneurs group. I am excited to have you all here. I'm excited to get this started. It's been a little bit of a crazy morning. I don't want to say it's been crazy. It's just been off. It's just been completely off. So let me get my laptop going. I'm seriously not ready at all. Okay. This is what happened. I took Aubrey to the park because I promised her that I would take her to the park. And we were kind of running late anyway. And so, we didn't get to the park till later than I anticipated. Then we get in the car and then she tells me that she's got to go potty. I legitimately wanted to tell her that she needed to pee her pants. But I didn't tell her that. I didn't tell her that because I chose to be a good mom. I know I'm going to get a lot of shit for that, but I don't even care. And then, of course, we're getting in the car and I see what time it is. And I'm like, okay, we're going to be okay. We're going to be fine. We're going to make it on time. And then there's road work. And then we weren't going to make it on time. So that is my story. So I apologize for being late. That is not something that I like to do, but it did happen today. I'm sorry. Let me know that you're on. Say hello. We are going to talk about being comfortable, showing up online, being comfortable, running late, having things not go according to plan. We're going to talk about all of that. And we're also going to talk about some things around marketing to just kind of get you started. So if you're on, let me know that you're on. Say hello. I just need to get something pulled up real quickly. And then, of course, I have an announcement that I am very happy to talk about. I'm actually very, very excited to talk about it, and I want to get that pulled up. If you are new to me, I am Angela. I am the founder of AsFreeAsYouSee. I am a breakthrough coach and a healer of queens. I help women entrepreneurs heal from childhood trauma so that they can have thriving businesses. And what does that mean exactly? It means more freedom, more safety, more money, more clients, the life that you're really, truly looking to live. And I have found in my own life that when I initially started my business, I had so much resistance and so much struggle to applying the strategy that I didn't understand why things weren't going well, why I couldn't just show up, why I couldn't just do the things that I wanted to do like everybody else. And I realized it was because I had some serious trauma that I had to take care of. And most of us are dealing with serious trauma, okay? Most of us are. Not, I believe everybody is, but a lot of us are dealing with trauma that has totally and completely impacted the way that we live, that we show up. And then when you go to be an online entrepreneur, an entrepreneur in general, all of this stuff kind of comes and hits you in the face. And you start to realize that you don't feel good about showing up without makeup and you don't understand why. You don't feel good about being late, or nothing can be, there can't be any mistakes, and you're not allowed to be off, and you're not allowed to say wrong things or offend anybody, or what will people think and what will people say. And you start to realize, and we think that we're fighting against it. And the truth is that once you heal, there's not really a fight. Right? There's not really any resistance to anything. It's like, yeah, this scares me really bad, but I'm going to do it anyway because I know that this is what I want for my life. This is truly, truly what I want. And so when I figured out that healing, I want to believe, is more critical than the strategy, then everything else started to shift. Everything in my business started to shift. Okay, have nanny wipe your hiney, please. Okay, and close the door. Can you open the door? Okay, close the door, please, baby. Thank you. Okay, so also, happy Wednesday. Hi, Heather. You'll be interested to learn that I had my nanny quit on Monday. And it was mind-blowing, okay? I was fucking pissed. I'm not even gonna lie about it. Okay, I was pissed. She texts me at like 7:30. She's supposed to be at my house at 8 o'clock. And she's like, I can't come in because my mom needs to borrow my car, which I get it. Okay. I understand that. But why can't your mom drop you off? Or why can't you get an Uber or something? I could have paid for the Uber if it was that serious. And then in the same sentence that she is not showing up, she also says, you need to find someone to replace me. And I wanted to be like, are you serious? So I calmed down, okay, because the energy has been wild. Okay, the energy has been intense. And so I calmed down and I was like, well, how long do I have to replace you? And I was like, are you coming in on Wednesday? And she said, well, I can give you like a week or two unless you find someone before then. And I said, all right. So then I text the other nanny that I've had for like almost a year, and she comes in on Friday, and I was like, hey, do you know anybody that's trying to get work and stuff like that? And then the thing is that it's going to be really difficult because most of these girls, they're college age girls, right? So most of them have like vacation going on. They're going to come home, right? Because Thanksgiving and Christmas and going up, or the holidays, whatever thing that you celebrate. Okay. And so I was like, how am I going to find a babysitter that can come in on Mondays and Wednesdays, 5 hours for each day, and make this work and help her get acquainted and do all these things, and then give her vacation for Thanksgiving and vacation for Christmas? And I was like, this isn't happening. So what I did was like, I said, please do not come in on Wednesday. And it's probably better because I wouldn't have been nice to her. Okay. I'm the type of person that I would have been passive aggressive, and that's not okay. So I just removed the situation entirely. I just told her, don't worry about it. Please don't come in. Thanks for babysitting for your 3 months or whatever it is that you showed up, which pisses me off because I wouldn't have. We think that, we're so above that because we're older or whatever. I'm like 13 years older than these girls. And I'm just like, even at that age, I wouldn't have done something like that. Like I would have come in and talked to the person. And I know for a fact because I was a nanny and had to do it 3 or 4 times. It's an uncomfortable conversation, but it's a conversation that is meant to be had. Period. Because especially in Aubrey's situation where she has seizures and they're uncontrollable and the stress can induce the seizures. And so having new people and routines and things not like falling into place can potentially cause those seizures. So there's been awesome things going on this week. And I felt like yesterday was an off day, but I still showed up and it was so sloppy, and it was just like, I'm just ready for things to like be back on track, and who knows when that's going to happen. So anyway, my daughter is going to be in the background, and because she's going to be in the background, I've had to pause all of like my one-to-one coaching. Luckily, I didn't have one-to-one like clients, so that didn't necessarily matter, but I have put that on pause until January. And then that's why like the group stuff is coming up and things like that. So that's what's been going on in my life. And I hope that your days have been really good. I hope they've been better than mine. And I hope that you've been putting yourself out there, especially since last week's live with the Q&A. I hope that you've been putting yourself out there. I hope that you've been practicing. Tell me how you are. Tell me that you're on. Tell me how things are going for you before we get into this. I want to pull up my book so I can make sure that I get the topic that we're talking about right. I know that sounds so crazy, but I just have to make sure that I see it because I'll go off on a tangent. I'm pretty sure you guys have figured that out by now. Okay. Ugh. I feel so ill prepared right now. It's driving me crazy. Okay. Okay, perfect. Okay. She just wasn't meant to be your nanny. No, I completely agree. And the thing is that there were some things that I had noticed that were going on. Like she was showing up late, like every day. And because I'm getting ready to work, I don't have time to be like, I need you to show up on time. It's like, I'm trying to get ready for work and maneuver around my daughter and be a mom at the same time and deal with all this stuff. No, thank you. No, thank you. Okay. So anyway, let's get into the content. I know that this is why you're here. We are on day 1 of the wonderful burn everything that's blocking you to the ground. Nanny helped you? Okay, thank you. Are you coming back to get your iPad? Are you going to stay in here? Okay. So I know that you're here for the training series. This is burn everything that's blocking you to the ground. And we are going to go over... Oh, bring it here, baby. We're going to go over 3 things. Today is going to be helping you feel more comfortable showing up as all of you, and of course, marketing. And then we're going to talk about dealing with imposter syndrome tomorrow, and then how to gain clients. And then the last day we're going to, give me just a second. No, please don't pull that. No, thank you. Here, baby.
You want your iPad? Let's go outside and use it.
Okay. And then on the 3rd day, we're going to talk about money and, of course, how to make money online. Because let's be honest, none of this is sustainable if we're not making an income, right? If we're not feeling supported. So we are going to talk about money. It is a very important piece and factor to this, especially if we have money blocks and things like that. But let's go into feeling comfortable online. Okay. And then we'll talk about some marketing tips. I felt ill prepared for 2 weeks now. LOL. I feel you. I understand. I 100% get it. It's so funny how we feel like when we feel like we're ill prepared, it's like things are like this way and this way and this way. And you're just trying to be like, just stay calm. Just stay calm. Okay. I totally get it. Okay. So let's talk about feeling more comfortable online. First and foremost, you want to know if whether or not you feel safe showing up online. And I know that you guys hear me talk about this so much, but it is a critical factor on whether or not you feel comfortable showing up, whether or not you're going to share your story, whether or not you're going to get vulnerable, whether or not you're going to grow connections. If you do not feel safe, then you want to work on feeling completely safe showing up. And this is something that I do work with one-to-one with my clients in my signature healing program, where we reset and rewire your nervous system in 8 weeks so you can start putting yourself out there, so that you can start doing things that bring your business forward. Yeah, baby, you can be in here if you want to, okay? But I need you to close the door so that you can show up the way that you... Hey, come back here. Come close the door. Please. She's fine. She's fine. Just leave her alone, please. I think I might explode right now. Okay. You want to make sure that you feel safe, because it is going to change the way that you show up. If you do not feel safe, you are not going to play big. You are not going to feel, okay, please close the door. You are not going to feel like you're allowed to take up space, even though you absolutely are. We just feel like we can't. And that actually comes from your childhood. If you were not allowed to express yourself as a child, or have emotions, or play and do the things that you wanted to, you are not going to feel comfortable showing up online and taking up space and being seen and heard. So you want to track that stuff back to your childhood. I am not going to get into specifically how to track that. I'm going to let you know where you want to start. And it is very much in your childhood. And it is very much between the ages of 0 to 7. Those are imprinting ages. That's when your energy is still very much connected to your mom, especially. So you want to go in and start seeing certain things like, were you allowed to express yourself as a child? How were your parents expressing their emotions and their thoughts and their feelings? Were your parents fighting and arguing all the time? Or did you have a single mom, right? Did you have a single parent? Or did you have the type of dynamic where your mom wasn't around and you were still raised by other people? You were still tapped into your mom's energy. And so certain things are affecting you and we don't realize it. So some questions that you can ask yourself are, was I allowed to express myself as a child? How did my parents express themselves and their thoughts and their feelings, and did they argue all the time? And this will give you an indication on how comfortable you feel showing up and taking up space, okay? Also, this can be highly connected to whether or not you've healed your inner child. No, please don't. Aubrey, please shut the door. I'm not playing with you. Do not come in here again. That's not how this is going to work. Not at all. No, thank you.
I put my legs out and I close the door.
Oh my God. Oh, yeah. So that is going to help you see whether or not you feel comfortable showing up online, okay? Because, what I was talking about is also this can be connected to inner child healing as well. And this is why I'm saying to go back to your childhood. Because if you're afraid to take pictures that don't have makeup on, if you're afraid to go live without being completely done up, if you're afraid to be goofy, if you're afraid to make mistakes, if you're afraid to have your child interrupt your live a million times, then it's something that you need to go back and work on, because essentially these are all things that can prevent you from showing up. However, you can maneuver and weave through it and make it work. It's absolutely possible. I obviously do it all the time. Things never go according to plan. And now, of course, what I'm thinking is I wanted to make this public on YouTube, and I wanted to make this a training series so that I can use it as an opt-in so that people can come into my email sequence and stuff like that. And how am I going to do this when my mom's walked in, my brother's been here, and my child has walked in 4 different times? And so, of course, we're going to have these thoughts and things that are running through our mind, but it's like, I care. Of course I care. I want it to go smoothly. I want it for people to see me in a well-represented way, right? But also at the same time, life happens, okay? I can't control the nanny fucking quitting. I guess I could have kept her on, but I'm an asshole, okay? I wouldn't have done well with that. And not that I wouldn't have paid her or anything, because it's not worth the conversation. I just know how I am, okay? It's not worth the conversation. Anyway, but see, these kind of things can pop up. And they will absolutely play a part, but it's whether or not you feel safe showing up on live and making mistakes and having real life happen. You want to heal those pieces of you that feel in conflict about you showing up, about you going live and making mistakes. What am I going to say? Do you know how many times I have forgotten what I am going to say mid-sentence? At least a million times, okay? And you know what's interesting about that is it happens in real life. Right? So you're like in this train of thought and you're like, I don't even know where I was going with that. And it just totally disappeared. It happens in real life. Why wouldn't it happen live? Okay. You want to see how the dots are connecting back to your childhood and how comfortable you are online coming back from your childhood. You can connect the dots. If you're afraid to be vulnerable, it's not because you fear being vulnerable. It's because you fear that you don't feel safe, okay? You don't feel safe if you are vulnerable. Will you be rejected? Will people have something to say about it? What will people think? What will people say? Right? It's not the fact that you're being vulnerable. It's the fact that you don't know what's going to happen after you're vulnerable that makes you feel unsafe, right? It's the same thing like with self-sabotage, okay? And we can talk about, this is something I'm probably going to go on Instagram and talk about actually. But what happens is that especially in relationships. We'll use relationships, and this works with anything. But what happens is someone in a relationship gets vulnerable, right? They get vulnerable. They pour their heart out. They, tell their partner whatever. And then they freak out because now they've opened up their heart. They said things that they probably have never shared with anybody. And now they're like waiting, right? They're waiting. And so, and what they do is even if the partner was really good at receiving it and supportive and like the perfect partner, right? Whatever the situation called for, they were right there. They were perfect. Well, because they feel like they were vulnerable, and that means that they can't truly be loved in that vulnerable state. They don't feel safe. They start self-sabotaging the relationship. They start fights. They start going off. They start doing things that they used to do, but they don't anymore, or whatever the case is, because they're scared, because they don't feel safe. And that's why we start to self-sabotage in relationships. And it's normal. It's all part of the game, right? But it's not about the vulnerability. It's about whether or not you feel safe after you share being vulnerable, is essentially what it is. So if you are struggling connecting with people online and you haven't shared any of your story or shared anything as far as being vulnerable, I want you to ask yourself if what you're truly afraid of from being vulnerable, what is it truly? Are you afraid of being rejected? Which is a huge piece, right? It's a huge piece. The fear of rejection is huge. Do you feel like people are going to abandon you? Like your family's going to abandon you for sharing your story? I felt like that for a really long time. I was afraid that they would get mad that I was digging up dirty laundry. And the truth is not one of them has abandoned me, all right? We think this kind of stuff. We think this kind of stuff because we have trauma. Because our minds have implanted fear-based programming that's significantly worse than it naturally is, because our nervous system is telling it that it's not safe. And so it goes haywire. Okay, you've got to figure out whether or not you feel safe. Figure out what it is that you're afraid of so that you can acknowledge it and deal with it and own it so that you can move on. You want to be vulnerable. You want to be able to connect. You want to show up no matter how ugly, no matter how sloppy, no matter how anything it is, okay? And I promise you that people love it. You don't think that people love it, but people genuinely love it. They love to know that you're a human being. They love to know that you really are just like them. You're just, a few books, 3 months, 6 months into it. That's all. That's really all. And the more and more you get comfortable with who you are and show yourself love, the easier all of this is going to be. The more compassionate you are with yourself, the easier this is. Yes, all the healing and stuff, it's going to make things easier, absolutely. But when you're healing, you learn how to show yourself all of that compassion, right? Whereas before you probably didn't, right? Before, probably every mistake, is the end of the world. You're beating yourself up. You're talking shit to yourself, and it just goes on and on and on. And then it's just this negative cycle and this negative cycle and this negative cycle. And then it gets you nowhere. And then what happens is when you cycle into that, let's say for example, that you have, been posting, right? You've been posting, you've consistently showed up, and you start to feel good about it. You're showing up, you're being consistent, and then you make one mistake and then you spiral and then you self-sabotage, right? And that's just because you're not feeling safe with the things that you're doing. You don't feel like you have the capacity to sustain what you're doing. And so you want to be sure that you talk to all the bits and pieces of you that are in conflict about what you're doing. And I work with my one-to-one clients, and I actually have an upcoming 10-day intensive that we are actually going to work on this specifically as we're working on content, as we're working on marketing, that I'm going to dive into a little bit later. But that is a huge piece of it. We self-sabotage because at some capacity, you don't feel safe with what is going on and the success that may potentially be at your fingertips. And so we self-sabotage, okay? And it's just because there's a part of you that feels like it's in conflict, that doesn't necessarily want what you want, or it does want what you want, but it needs your attention and your love first. This is why healing is so critical, and learning how to navigate healing, and learning how to heal your inner child, and learn how to let go of your trauma and feel safe in your body. All of that is a huge component to it. Let me get a drink of water. Do we have any questions about showing up online and feeling comfortable in the healing piece of this? I feel like we've kind of got it. We kind of understand that, but I just want to make sure that we are all on board. We're all good with this. Heather says, you've got this. Thank you. Thank you. I think the last one will be all right. And I think that will be the last time she comes in. So I want you to remember, you want to connect the dots, okay? Were you allowed to express yourself as a child? How did your parents express their feelings and their thoughts? Were your parents arguing all the time? Do you feel safe being seen and heard? You can ask yourself those questions and journal on them. When you feel like you're self-sabotaging, ask yourself, what part of me is not on board with what's going on, and start talking to it. And then if you fear being vulnerable, I want you to ask yourself, what do you fear will happen if you are vulnerable with your audience or with your social media audience, okay? And that will help you start to piece together these dots so that you can start to break through or burn these blocks that are keeping you from fully showing up online. That's what all of this is about. Definitely a big help. Okay, good. And a reminder on this subject for me. Yeah, it always is, right? Even when, I've been in business for 5 years, and even in the last 2 years, and I've really shown up and made mistakes and don't give a shit and say things and go off and whatever. We have to remember that, one, we're human, and to be compassionate, and to remember that, that we're going to show up, and that we're human, and shit's going to happen. I mean, it just is. And I think it's something that even people that are making millions and millions of dollars, I would love to be making millions and millions of dollars, but even they come up against this stuff all the time. I don't want you to feel like, because you're just beginning that, or not even just beginning, or just because you feel like you're struggling or you're stuck or just beginning, that it only happens to you. That's not the case. That's not the case at all. I have learned over and over that you come up, not necessarily the same stuff. It's kind of been the same stuff, but not necessarily. It shows up in different ways, I feel like. But I do deal with it all the time. I deal with fear. I deal with self-sabotage. I deal with it all the time. And for me, the self-sabotage used to be a critical piece that I would do. And I'm actually going to talk about it on Instagram. So if you don't follow me on Instagram, follow me on Instagram so that you can see the live that I'm talking about. Let me leave my handle so that you can see me, so that you can be my friend if you're not my friend. I don't know what it is on Instagram, you guys. Don't ask me. Okay, Heather says, I'm still a bit nervous to show up, mainly because of what my parents will think, which is ridiculous sounding now that I type that out. And it does. Sometimes we need to be able to vocalize those things to realize that it does sound ridiculous, but not uncommon, and something I understand. So if you feel like you are going to share a vulnerable post that you really do not want them to see, you can actually go into the privacy settings right on the post and there's an option that says everybody but these people, right? So you can put your parents on there. If you really feel like you're that concerned about the repercussions with your parents, you can just change the privacy settings on it so that everybody can see it in the whole entire world except for your parents. Okay? So you can do that. You absolutely can do that. But I'm glad that you see that and you hear that, but it's a fear, and it's okay, because you're absolutely not alone. And I understand that, because I have struggled with that before, all the time. Another thing that I want to mention that I forgot to mention that I feel like is a critical piece to this, and I can't believe I was going to go on without talking about it. The healing piece is the vital piece. It is absolutely the vital piece, okay? Without the healing, you're gonna continue to deal with the same stuff over and over and over and over and over. You must practice, okay? You must practice showing up. If you do not practice showing up, you're not gonna all of a sudden jump into it and feel so comfortable sharing your deepest, darkest secrets with Facebook or Instagram or TikTok or whatever else is out there now, okay? You're not gonna do it. And you're not going to do it because you haven't been in practice. What I want you to do is just practice showing up every single day. And when you feel like you want to type something or write something or share something, I want you to go with that inspiration and just put it out there, and do not reread it. Don't fix it. Don't do anything. Just put it out there, because I know, especially with some of us, we'll go back and reread it. No, I don't want to say that. No, this has a mistake. Just go take that inspired action. That inspired action is going to be critical because someone needs to hear it. Whoever is on your audience or on your page, someone needs to hear whatever inspiration that you have coming through your mind as a download. That's what I call it. So if you feel like you're just, something's going on, you're writing or whatever, I want you to just stop what you're doing and be like, this is the post, and just do it. Then just go as fast as you can, and then put a little picture on it. Don't analyze the picture. Nobody cares. Just do it and post it, and don't look at it again. Okay. And then you'll get used to doing it like that, and it will feel so good. It will feel so good. That's how I want you to practice showing up. You can absolutely do that, but you must practice. Okay. You cannot do this without the practice piece, because what you'll realize is the more that you heal and the more that you practice, the more comfortable you become, the safer you become, the more powerful you feel when you're online, the more you feel like you're allowed to take up space. Okay. So please practice. Okay. Please do not take anything that I'm saying and then not do anything with it, because that's like, what is that going to do for me? Nothing. Okay. It does nothing for me. It doesn't mind. It just helps me practice showing up. Right. But then it does absolutely nothing for you. It does absolutely nothing for you. And that's not why I get on here and go live. I want you to feel inspired to take action and believe that you can do this, and believe that you can do this. I wish that I could find, and I'm sure I could find them. I am sure I could find them, is find lives from when I very first started and tag you guys in it so that you can see it. Because I promise you, they're not good, okay? And it's okay that they're not good. The first couple of times that you post vulnerable stories, you're gonna be freaked out. Of course you are. You're gonna be freaked out. You've never done it before in your life. Of course you are. It's natural. It's all part of it. It's cool. It's part of it. Totally and completely part of it. Okay, so I want you to know that. Okay. So I want you to know that you're not alone, okay? Heal, practice, and things will come together, okay? Heal, practice, things will come together. Is Nanny out there? Can you ask Nanny? Oh, you're gonna drop them. You're spilling. Okay? Yes, you can have more chocolate milk, baby. Okay? Please close the door. Aubrey Gale. Thank you. Close the door, love.
I almost fell in.
I know, I saw you almost fall in. Okay. All right, let's go to the other piece. Okay, let's go to the other piece. Let's talk about marketing. I know that this actually came up in things that you as my group were struggling with, and so I want to actually... Okay, that is not what I wanted. Okay, Nanny got her. And Nanny's Nanny. Nanny raised me, okay? You guys hear the stories. Anyway. Oh, man. Okay. I know that you and the group have mentioned that you're struggling with marketing. And so I want to make sure that I tap into that, just to give you some hints and pieces and things that you can start doing immediately. But I'm not going to give all the juiciness away, because if I give all the juiciness away, then of course I won't see you and the beautiful and awesome 10-day intensive that is coming up that I am so excited about. I've never done anything like this before, but I'm going to do it because I'm super excited about it. But let's talk about marketing. Okay. Number one, this is the most important thing that I don't want to say most important thing that you can do. These are some tips that I'm going to give you. You want to go into Facebook groups and you want to make sure that you are in groups that are part of your niche, okay? So your niche is specifically who you work with, right? For me, it's going to be women entrepreneurs who have suffered from childhood trauma. Do you see that niche? Okay. So maybe, Heather, I know for you, if you're doing the notary, it might be specifically lenders and brokers, lending offices. It might be the courthouse. It might be something like that, right? And I don't know if they have courthouse groups. Okay. I'm just, you want to be in things like that. You can, of course, be in a group specifically for notaries. Of course you do. Because then that way you get to see how other people are running their businesses. You get to possibly create a referral program so that if that person that you know and you've connected with, can't get the notary and they're in your area, then you get their notary. If it's for specifically, say you're helping women with psoriasis. Okay. So it's going to be, your niche is going to be women with psoriasis. So you're going to go into support groups and anything like that. And you're going to search like women with psoriasis or women that suffer from psoriasis. You can literally do a search. And then you're going to join those groups. And what you're going to do is you're going to connect. You're going to connect by answering questions. You're going to connect by asking questions, right? For me, I have noticed that the group area, especially for entrepreneurs, that groups are so saturated with posts that I'm not even sure that people actually read the posts. And I don't want to scare you, but I feel like there is I feel like it's beneficial and more efficient for you to answer questions when people ask questions as a post, and then you ask questions like, what are you struggling with? Just like I do in the group. Like, what do you feel you're struggling with right now? What are you working on? Things like that. You can ask questions, and that way you can connect with these people. A huge piece of marketing is connection, is relationships. Now, I know that there is a lot of stuff, how people, as soon as you become friends with people, they jump right into your DM. And I know that there's people out there that bash everybody for doing this. And I'm not the one, okay? The truth is that it obviously still works, because if it still works, if it didn't work, people wouldn't be doing it anymore. So it obviously still works. If you feel comfortable sliding into people's DMs immediately and cold pitching them, be my guest. That's not my jam. It feels super, super uncomfortable for me when I accept people's friendships and they try to force their energy on me, okay? I'm not a projector. That's if you know what human design is, that's human design project your energy onto people, which is interesting because only 30% of the population, I think it's 30%, I think it might be lower, I think it might be 27% of the population are actually projectors. So it's weird to me that we are projecting energy like that, okay? Because most of us are generators. So it's really interesting to me that people do that. So that means that we generators envelop people into their energy. They don't need to go and do stuff. And when people try to project, generators are like, ooh, no, get away from me, right? Because it freaks me out. And it freaks me out, especially when the first thing that they do is leave like a voice message. I don't have time to answer that. I don't want to hear that. Like, I don't do that, right? So I'm not against it, okay? I'm not against it. But I want you to be aware of how it makes people feel. And I want you to do what feels good for you. that doesn't mean that you can't like watch people's stories and like comment on their stories and get to know them that way and then engage in a conversation. Your goal is connection, right? Your goal is to connect with a human being. You want to treat them like not necessarily a friend, because especially if there's coaching involved, that gets a little bit confusing unless it's after the fact, but you want to focus on them as if they're a human being. They want connection. They want to be seen and heard. They want to be understood. Okay, so you want to work on the connection piece. I'm not saying don't DM. I'm not saying don't create that relationship with cold pitching. I'm not saying that at all. I'm saying you need to figure out what feels comfortable for you. That's not my jam. And I've gotten to the point where when people cold pitch me, depending on what it is and what kind of mood they're in or I'm in, I will cold pitch them back. And people aren't expecting me to cold pitch them back and then me tell them, and ask them, is there anything that I can help you with? Because I help people with trauma. And then they usually don't respond. And then I usually never hear from them again, because it's not that that's what I want, but it is a repelling factor. Most people don't want to deal with their bullshit. Most people don't want to deal with their trauma. And so now we're in a conversation where I'm letting you know that I'm aware that you have trauma because of the way that you approached me. And that's an interesting fact, huh? Not fan of messages like that either, so I wouldn't do it. Okay, and that's fine. And that's totally fine. And it works for some people and it doesn't. But I can also tell by the approach and the way that people show up in my DM that they need my help. And so it's really interesting what happens. We'll just leave it there. Okay? So your goal is to find and you're going to find connections. You're creating connections with people that are within your niche so that you can, of course, eventually make money, make a sell. That's what it is. Okay. So your main goal right now is to make sure that you are targeting the right people. And what you can do is you can go in and become friends with these people. You can happen naturally, or you can just friend request them. That's up to you. I can do a whole thing on how to do this in Facebook. If you want me to, I can do it about Facebook, and I can show you my screen and show you exactly what I'm talking about. I might actually add that to the 10-day intensive, but that's what you can do. I want you to focus on that first, and I want you to then focus on making connections. And then once you feel like you have that connection and you really genuinely feel like you can serve that person, then you say, hey, we've been chatting and talking for a little bit, and I'm seeing that you're struggling with X, Y, and Z. And I want you to know that I completely understand that. I know what it's like to struggle with trauma. I've had childhood sexual abuse from my childhood. Obviously I said that. And I want you to know that I have this 8-week program that can completely help you and shift your life and change everything and the direction that you're going. Would you be interested in something like this? And if they say no, that's fine. Okay. You're going to have people say no to you for a while, but those people that say no to you, you can also then funnel them into a group. Okay. I'm not saying, please don't be overwhelmed by what I'm telling you. Please do one thing at a time and what you feel comfortable with, depending on where you're at. If those people say no to you, you can funnel them into a group. You can say, okay, that's fine. But if you're interested, I have this group and it can really serve you. And then you do that. And then they become potential warm leads is what they call them, right? You can do that. If they say yes, then of course, now you're making money and you're like, yeah, I got a client, right? That's kind of how it works. I've heard to join groups that are about hobbies you like too. So I think you naturally do that. There's going to be things that you're interested in. There's going to be connections and things that you make with people, and then you end up with their group, of course. Am I saying to go pick hobbies that you're not interested in, join them? No, absolutely not. Do not, no. That is icky. And it's icky because you are essentially going in there to spam people. And that's not what you want. That you want to create a connection. If you are really, truly leading from your heart, you want to serve people. You do not want to catch people off guard about what it is that you're trying to do in there. If you really are in there for a hobby, then people want you to be in there for a hobby. Now, that doesn't mean that you can't make connections and then talk about your business and that's how it works. But that's why I'm saying you want to do it based on hobbies that you are genuinely involved with. Okay. Genuinely involved with things that you absolutely love. You love being in the group, because eventually what happens is when you become an entrepreneur, there's so many fucking groups. It's insane. Okay. And you don't have time to connect with everybody and do all those things. So if you do the hobby thing, it needs to be genuine hobbies that you are 1,000% interested in, or because you made a connection and you want to support that person and what they're talking about is interesting. So of course you're going to be in there, right? Like those kinds of things are going to happen. But your focus is to be in a target audience. Your target audience is who you're going to be pitching to and talking to on your regular Facebook page, right? You want them to come into your energy. You want them to come into your page, because now they are a targeted audience that is your ideal clients, essentially, your soulmate clients, essentially. I just don't recommend the hobby thing unless you're truly, truly interested in it. And I know, because I used to just join groups and then I had to clear out my list, and that's not what you want. And you don't want to be wasting your time or your energy. So I want you to do what feels good for you. If you think that that's going to work, that's cool. But I want you to be aware of how much time and energy you can potentially waste not going into a targeted group. Okay, you have a purpose, and your purpose, and I know that this is going to sound crazy, but your purpose is to make money. Okay, that's the bottom line. Of course, you're here to serve. Of course, you're here to help, but none of this is sustainable if you aren't making any money. So that means that you want to make sure that you are targeting the right groups of people. Yes, it might be considered manipulation. Of course it is, but most marketing and sales absolutely are. And it's not because we're trying to hurt people, but you're essentially trying to do good for them, right? So you're going to market to the right audience. And that is essentially how you get clients. But also, I want you to be sure that you, I totally forgot what I was going to say. Damn it. I really did. So that's going to be part of your marketing piece. This is going to help you build clients as well, right? Because marketing and clients very much go together. Oh, this is what I was going to tell you. When you market to people, when you get ready to sell, you are going to point out emotions that they want to feel, right? Imagine feeling the freedom of when you heal, because you feel present in your body. Imagine feeling present in your body with your kids, and you're actually enjoying your time with your kids instead of looking at the clock every 5 seconds waiting for it to be over. Imagine, the feeling and the experiences that you get to create because you're bringing in more money. Imagine that relief. Imagine how that feels, right? You're going to play on feeling, on emotion. People buy based on emotion. The next thing that you want to be aware of when you market, and again, I'm going to go into details of this in my 10-day intensive, but you also want to ask yes questions, okay? Yes questions. Are you committed? Are you ready to do this? Are you done struggling? Are you done having your past hold you back? Yes, 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 yes. Okay. And so then when you're going in for the ask, when you're going in for the CTA, which is a call to action, they're already saying yes. Emotions and yes questions. Emotions and yes questions in your sales piece, right? In your piece where you're marketing. You want to make sure you have a targeted audience. You want to make sure you're building connection. You want to make sure that you're playing on emotion, and you want to make sure that they're already saying yes. Okay? Is that making sense? I hope that that is making sense. Let me know that that's making sense. While you are letting me know if that is making sense to you, I want to talk to you about my 10-day intensive that is coming up. I thought I was going to do it on November 15th, and I am not. I realized the other day on a run that I was pushing this closely out of fear and not out of alignment. And so I had to take a step back. And actually, I felt pretty embarrassed about it because I had already put it out and hadn't thought anything all the way through. Okay, that's pretty cool. Okay, cool. So the 10-day intensive, I'm very excited about, because not only are we going to talk about how to heal and how to remove blocks, but we are going to talk about things like getting clear on your messaging. What do you truly stand for? We're going to talk about content. We're going to create an offer. We're going to go into selling and marketing, and then of course connection with people and how to do all of those things. And in that, we are actually going to make sure that you're not self-sabotaging anymore. We're making sure that you feel safe in your body. We're making sure that you get everything that you're looking for all at once. And I want to do it all the way in a 10-day intensive, because I want you to pick this up as quickly as possible so that you can start feeling like you can sustain what you're doing as quickly as possible, instead of feeling like you're all over the place and you don't really know that what you're doing. This is going to be intense. It is going to be a very push forward. But what the best piece about this is that I've done is that there's going to be one day of learning the work of learning, and then one day you have to practice, right? One day to put it and implement all of it that I'm talking about. And that is the best part about this 10-day intensive. Not only are you going to get the healing, you are also going to get the strategy. And right now, the pre-sale price for it is going to be $222, and it is going to go up, I think, next week to $100. So let me leave that link in here if you are interested in doing that. It is just a link. Okay, I call it a pre-sale. I call it a pre-sale because I have nothing. I don't want to say I don't have nothing. That wasn't very good. But I don't have a sales page. I don't have like all the details all written out and everything. I know what we're going to do, and I'm actually already have the outline and everything coming out, and I'm so pumped. I'm so pumped to do this. I'm actually really scared because I haven't necessarily walked anybody through something like that. But I know that I'm capable of doing it because I've been doing it for years. And so I invite you to get in this 10-day intensive that starts December 6th, and it goes whatever 2 weeks after, whatever the 2 weeks to the December 6th is. So, but it is going to help you get clear. It is going to help you create an offer. It is going to help you start creating the connections and moving you forward in your business and giving you everything that you are truly looking for so that you can move forward right now, so that you don't have to feel stagnant, so you don't have to feel stuck anymore. You just know what you're doing and you're moving the F forward. What are the dates again? Oh, December 6th. So, my phone's right here, and I can't pull up. I have a calendar on my laptop, but it has to be connected to Outlook, and I'm not doing that. So, and I don't know how to do it. So December 6th. So I think it's the 13th. The 13th, that would be our last week. I think. You can let me know. So, but it will start December 6th. It is all about giving you both your strategy and burning all your blocks to the ground so you have absolutely no excuses, okay? None. No excuses. I was going to do a Zoom, but because the situation with my daughter, I didn't want to do a Zoom, but I'm going to go live. It will be 5 days out of the week so that you have a day to practice. And then I'm going to go live and give you all this content, and I'm going to dive juicy into everything so that you know exactly the hell that I'm talking about. Oh, and not only are you going to get the 10-day intensive, I am going to give away my free course, the mindset course. I'm also creating a healing money stories course right now. I'm putting that in there. And I'm thinking about doing a bonus Facebook monetization for your profile on Facebook so that you know how to do that. And so that will be in there as well. So I will do all of that, and that will be in there. And so we will start December 6th with that. And so the pre-sale price will be for just this rest of this week. And I think it will be $333 starting sometime next week. So that's what is going on. I'm going to talk about it for the next 2 days, of course, and then I'm going to sell it. You guys know how I operate. I try not to hide anything from you guys or hide anything from you. I don't want it to be icky. I don't like things feeling icky because I'm not trying to manipulate you into buying the course. If it's aligned for you, if you feel like it's going to meet your needs, it's aligned for you, then of course I want you to join, of course. Okay. Do we have any questions about the marketing or the content? Let me remind you about what we're going to talk about tomorrow. We are going to talk about imposter syndrome and clients, okay? Gaining clients, how to gain clients. And I tapped a little bit into it today, but I'm going to dive a little bit deeper into it as well. Okay? That's what we have going on. Let me get a drink. There aren't any questions, I can let you guys go. But yes, we will start December 6th, and it's going to be so good. And I'm not going to cap the time on the lives, so that if you have questions or we need to go over something again, then you absolutely have all the time in the world to ask, and so that you feel like you are truly being served. No questions for now. Perfect. Okay, this is what I have for you. Tomorrow we'll go live at the same time at 11 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. I will try my very hardest to be on time. Again, I don't have a babysitter. I do have a babysitter on Friday though, so that's good. So, but I hope to see you tomorrow. And if you're watching the replay, please let me know that you're watching the replay. Ask any questions during the replay. And again, if this feels aligned to you, the 10-day intensive, if it feels aligned for you, please do join. Okay, I'll see you all later. Bye.